What's going on? Yeah, I kind of want to talk about this manipulation tactic. It's kind of like false urgency. Like basically, it's kind of like this is what politicians do. This is basically what con men and car salesmen. They all do the same thing. It's kind of like, if you don't act now, something bad is gonna happen. Uh, if you don't act now, you're gonna miss out on this awesome opportunity for me to exploit you and charm your pants off. In other words, you'll be left holding the bag. You know what I'm talking about? But anyway, it's kind of this. There's this kind of like alarmist methodology where you use these hyper fear, like, oh my gosh, all the animals are gonna perish unless we donate to this PETA fund. But come to find out, like, PETA is the main euthanizer. So it's like it's a con. They're acting like you think you're saving animals, and they're also like, oh, it's the most humane thing we can do. It's like basically overdose them with a shot and then throw them in a freezer. And it's almost like a butchery. Like, I don't know if they're sending them to the V aliens from that 80 Series V, and they're getting stored on a big ship that's cloaked up there in the sky. I don't know. But anyway, on all the commercials, they use these highly emotional charged pictures, like sad pictures of little animals. And it's like, and it's kind of like, they're only showing you a little quick subliminal clip, and they're switching through all these like pictures. And it's also like who does depression hurt? And then they freaking show you all these pictures where even if you don't suffer from depression, it's like the impression that these things present is so well engineered and propagandized and scientifically, they're using the psychological sciences against people. And it's another form of this. If you don't act now, all these poor animals are gonna suffer, and they're gonna have to live for free out there and do as they always done, because the animals don't need humans to survive necessarily. But for some reason, if we don't act now and just pay $59.95 a month, it's all your fault that the world's going to hell in a handbasket. It's kind of like, that's the thing. These con artists, these manipulators, they don't have a conscience, and their whole game is to pretend to be a regular human with regular emotions, will, intellect, like that, but it's not. It's all exploitive. It's all kind of like, it's a coercive reactionness. It's kind of like, I want you to do this so I can react this way, which is a form of coercion, as if they didn't set this whole thing up. And it's totally narcissistic, using the audience against you. Like, what? You don't support the green tax? Well, everybody in the earth right now is mad at you because you chose to block my aggressive car salesman tactics to make you agree with me. And it's like, look, agreement, validation is what the attention that the narcs really want from you, is like this kind of attention and to agree with them. But they'll take that and they'll love that. They'll eat that up. That'll just pump up their ego even that much more. But they really do want you to say no. Because for one, they're like looking at you like, huh? I got one right here who can see. My peer pressure, aggressive tactics did not work on him right now. And he withstood my persuasion, my freaking magic. You know what I'm saying? This one, wow, only 1 out of 10 people actually resist my magicianry. it's kind of like, dude, these people kind of want to give you this God complex, this savior complex. They're giving you an opportunity to buy a cover because, you know, that guy doesn't beat his wife because he gives $10,000 to charity every year. But that is the perfect mask and perfect cover for a manipulator, for an abuser, to hide behind, to sway the audience before they even need to be called in, because that's pure pressure. And it's also kind of like this: everyone doesn't agree with what you're saying right now. It's like, who's everyone? What do you mean? What are we going to go and interview every single person around us? And that still ain't everybody. But they'll say things like this to make it seem as if it's whipping up an audience, but it's more like on that movie Braveheart. In order to cut down on cost of here's where I'm walking. And cost on paying actors, they made a bunch of cardboard cutouts and stuck them way down the field and made it look like they had an army of men, where they only had about one real human with 10 cutouts, and the real humans went like this, and the cutouts kind of, you couldn't tell that they weren't really moving because it was just a quick, and they kind of, that's the way they use the audience, like kind of like politicians. They're supposed to speak on behalf of all the citizenry. But look, how often does any of these politicians actually go and interview any citizen and see what he really thinks? So, and they use that, oh, we have majority opinion right now, so you might as well go move to communist China if you don't like it. It's like, in other words, it's like, hey, if you call us out on our crap here, well, you just go to communist China where it's really crappy. That is not a good argument that's working in your favor, man. That's just like, it's kind of like, you can take that left hand right there, dude, and really get beat. But over here on this side, you'll at least be given the chance to have this Stockholm Syndrome kind of a deal going on here. And we are so fair. And we are so humanitarian. Because you're given a choice here in communist China. You just have to deal with it. These are these kind of boogeyman arguments that they use, and it makes it as if I agree with anything to do with communism at all, which I do not. It's a total patsy ideology that they use to sway masses of indoctrinated and ignorant people. And shell-shocked people, like people who obviously aren't thinking correctly, or no, they're not really in agreement with none of that. These people are just basically slaves walking around. You know what I'm saying? Inside of this illusion kingdom, this illusionary, because all this stuff is so illusionary, but people's believe in it. So it's like some guy says, hey, here's this badge, here's this gun. If anyone disagrees with any of these 10 points here, just waste them. We're behind you. Get him, buddy. And it's like, look, that person's like, hey, well, this guy up here said it's okay, so it's okay. And once again, you just forfeited over your control by you believing somebody else, and they told you it's okay to do something that you should know on your own that is wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, these people try to whip you up to be this freaking hero, that it's you're the one who has to change the world and save all these souls that are damned and lost out here. And if you don't pay $105 a month right now, you're going to you know where. You're not going to Valhalla. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. Look, the only person I'm truly responsible for is me. You know what I'm saying? And like, even my close kin, even my own son, it's like, to a certain extent, he's his own sovereign individual, and I can't overimpose my will upon him, especially because now he's reaching the age of maturity. But he's not mature yet, but hey, who is at that young age? But he's getting closer, so in order to let him learn on his own, you kind of gotta kick them freaking. It's like, okay, if you want to freaking do that, then I'm kicking off the freaking training wheels. And you once you can figure that out, I'll teach you how to ride no-handed. You know what I'm saying? Freaking, this is just a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure fully capable of all that, but this kind of cult leader, this anti-messiah kind of like Jim Jones, like, because it's kind of like, all right, when you do what I'm talking about, when you're responsible for you, you are responsible for you. I'm responsible for me. I'm not responsible for everyone else, but in order to be responsible for me, I got to put forth a decent example for people to see. I didn't say perfect, because that's impossible, man. We're under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of cons, a lot of misdirection, distractions. There's the cares of this world and this life that take priority temporarily over the higher things. You know what I'm saying? But if you can integrate the higher things into your regular walk, man, and therefore you're always in the mode you need to be in. And then when people come and try to offer you this appearance of you can be this knight in shining armor, this captain save them, no one can really live up to that. So it's kind of like, and once you accept responsibility for others in a way, and then you start to believe in it and act on it, and you're influencing all these people and controlling all these people, literally you are becoming entangled and ensnared, and now it's building up into sins. Their sins are partially your fault because you're out there indoctrinating them and pursuing this false paradigm, this false dream of yours where you believe you're Jesus Christ. And you see a lot of people like that, man. Like, in a way, it's like selfishness is see, there's a difference. I'm not saying choose selfishness and avoidance and all that. What I'm saying is like, the correct way is with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, no one can twist your arm to do the right thing. Then even if they did twist your arm to do the right, supposed right thing, but if it's the right thing, you know, it shouldn't take a lot of coercion and aggressive salesman tactics. And if you don't respond right now, this and this and this is gonna happen. All the dying penguins is your fault, buddy, because you won't donate to PETA. So we can, because of you and your ideals, you spoiled all of our plans. Like on Scooby-Doo. If it wasn't for you and those meddling kids and your YouTube videos, we would have got away with it. It's my money and I want it now. I deserve it. Look at everything I've done for you. It's like, look, I've seen all these kind of characters come out of these actors, close and afar. You know what I'm saying? Foreign and domestic, buddy. And sometimes it's me, the man in the mirror, right here. Like, I get carried away with a negative thought, the wrong thought, get ideas in my head, influence myself to get out of character because somebody suggested something, put an idea in my head. And once again, even if a total manipulator tried to deceive me and he put the idea in my head, I still have the power to reject that. And I should be good enough to figure it out. At least if not at first, not let it go very far. You know what I'm saying? I should see the hypocrisy, see the contradictions, see that actions and words don't meet up. Do a little research. Like, look, see, on all these things, these supposed, if you don't act now, the world's gonna die, which is to put you in an emotional fear-based mindset where all cult leaders use the same freaking tactic. They put you in this constant state of fear, but then they offer the pimp hand and they stroke your ego after you're like, all shell-shocked in this fear full of threats and all kinds of like religious fervor, and then they offer you this reassurance. You know what I'm saying? And stuff works. These are proven age-old tactics, man, of the kings and queens and of the power structure, that the real grease in the skids of things.